No doubt. One of the biggest platforms you've been on thus far is Dr. Dre's Chronic 2001. Can you talk about the creative process behind the message?
Wow, that has a history in and of itself. I originally did that with the legendary Lord Finesse. Lord Finesse had called me sometime in the 90s. I don't remember. Maybe like 96 or so. I don't remember when, but it was for him. And we did that at D&D. And I was originally singing on it. And it was such a dope track. He kind of was like holding off on writing it because he wanted to make sure he wrote the right thing. And I remember when we recorded, Fat Joe came down. Fat Joe did like a verse on there. I would love to hear that version of the song. I think it was Fat Joe, Finesse, and somebody else spitting on it, but I can't remember. And it was originally supposed to be for Lord Finesse. Every time I see Finesse, I'd be like, you know what? He was like, oh, I ain't do nothing with it yet. So one year I had a barbecue. I was living out in Jersey and I had a party, and he came, came through, and he was like, yeah, that song got placed on Dr. Dre's album, but Dre wanted to use somebody, a little more familiar to the public. So he used Mary. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But I was under the assumption that they basically just did a whole new hook. I didn't know that she was re-singing what I had done. I thought that had put her own twist on it. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward. Give me a second.
Yes.
So fast forward, like maybe a year or two after I had after I had the party, I was out in LA working with Mark Spark and Anthony Hamilton, Sunshine Anderson, and all of them at Soul Life. I was out there working, and this guy that was an A&R, I don't remember his name. He was a big guy. I can't remember his name. They had, all of the talk was Dr. Dre's project. And he was like, Mike City was one of the producers there. So it was a whole bunch of us. And they were like, oh, whoever to do this from Aftermath is coming. He's going to play the album. So we were all like, yeah, let's hear the album at the studio. Played the whole album. I'm like, dang, this was like maybe October of 99, so it was before the album had come out. Privilege being able to listen to some Heat before it comes out, blah blah blah. I knew about the song, so I was just interested to hear what they had done or whatever. It was like one of the last songs that was played, and as soon as I heard her sing my hook, I was like, I gotta check of it. Because I didn't know that they had used what I had written in Rel. So I'm not, I was happy Mary sung it. Like, that's something for me to be able to say that I've done is written for Mary.
Right.
So yeah, it was a good experience. And actually it wound up working out to my benefit by me not knowing, because I'm always about business at the end of the day. And as a songwriter, I was able to get full rate, which I probably would not, after the fact, which I probably would not have gotten beforehand, because I would have had to sign off on paperwork. But, I was able to get full rate, which means a larger percentage than I probably would have gotten had I known and had, we'd done all of the paperwork prior to. So.
Wow. You also worked with one Angie Stone. What was that creative process like?
Oh, wow. Angie is my sad sister. She's very talented. She called on me. She had heard some songs that I had done, I believe, and she called on me. I had just moved out to Atlanta at the time, and she flew me back home to New York, and we worked on quite a few songs, but I think only one or so got on the album that we worked on together. Yeah, Angie's really talented. She's really talented. She's cool. She knows what she wants. It was a good experience working with her.
At what point do we decide that a solo album is in the future for Crystal Johnson?
I don't know. I just decided like I don't know how it hit me. I think it was maybe like in '09. I'm like, wow, you've never represented yourself fully, you know. When are you gonna do it? If you don't do it now, you'll never do it. And so I just started working on a project, and I started putting feelers out there to producers that I really admired and respected, like Mike City and Dinky Bingham and Herb Middleton. I mentioned him earlier. Who else? Josh Milan, who's a really big house producer. I've known all of these people since I was signed to Uptown, so it was like, okay, I'm gonna. And they were like all so open to helping me see my vision, you know, come to fruition. So I'm appreciative of that. It was crazy. I did the whole project at my crib. Um, I did that project on Pro Tools, and then right after I finished working on it, I got Logic. I was like, dang, if I would have had Logic, whatever. It's to me, Logic is more for the engineer and producer, whereas I mean, Pro Tools is more for the engineer and producer, whereas Logic is more for the songwriter and producer. It's a lot of presets. It's a lot easier to function. I did that whole project on Pro Tools. It was like so tedious, but I did it. You know, I work. One thing about doing all of the work that I've done is like I work with some of the best engineers and producers, you name it, like the best. I'm naming Tip, I'm naming Lord Finesse, you know, I'm naming Pete Rock, and you know
Right.
what I'm saying. So I was so used to working with all of these great producers and Gordon and all of them. I'm a little spoiled when it comes to like that, you know. So
You had Fife Dog on that project. How did Fife get on this particular project? What was your relationship like with Fife Dog?
oh man, Fife. He had during the process of me working on the project, he had reached out to me to do some stuff for him. So we have like 2 or 3 songs, I believe, in the can that have never been released from him. One of them is real banging. It's like naming all of these different, like basically shouting out different cities. Oh, it's really hot. So we had already been, you know, in communication. I know again Fife from back in the day, and when the album came out, he reached out to me. He was like, "Yo, I want to get on that. Come home." I was like, "Really? This gonna make me want to cry." He reached out to me and he was like, "If you don't have no money, don't worry about it."
Mm.
And uh, Dion, his producer homie and partner, Dion Liverpool, we went to his studio and did it. He wrote a rap for me and everything, just supporting me as an
Wow.
independent artist. But that's Fife Dog, that's Fife Diggy. You know what I mean? Um, God has been very good to me. Um, may not get all of the fame and accolades or whatever, but I'm able to make my mark and have some really good relationships. Like I'm thinking about, like how does that who does that happen to? Fife, they're
Right.
getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you know. Um, so I'm really grateful for this experience. I have a lot of stories, you know, you're taking me back.
Right.
And there's so many stories and so many things that I've been able to accomplish and still be Crystal. I have not had to compromise me and who I am, the love that I have in my heart, the person that God has ordained me to be. I have not had to compromise that to sing. And there's been many situations where I could have, but sometimes I made decisions where it might have seemed like I was crazy.
Mm.
But now looking at the trajectory of things, I'm like, wow, girl, you were covered. You had the boldness too to know that you were covered when you didn't even really know. Like, no, I'm
Right.
not doing that album. I'm not gonna do that. People are like, you crazy. I'm like, okay. Um, so I look now and I'm still here. I'm still
Absolutely.
contributing. I'm still contributing as an artist. And all it takes is one person for you to touch,
Right.
you know. So
The name of that album was The Day Before Heaven, which is really a deep concept. Can you talk about the meaning behind that title?
it doesn't mean like the day before you die necessarily, but what it means for me is the day that like when you become uh, aware of yourself, when you decide to live freely, uh, the day before you learn how to live from the inside out, as opposed to living from the outside in. That's heaven.
Right.
Or it could be the day before you go home and meet your maker. You know what I mean? What does it mean to you? What does that mean to you? More importantly,
Right.
you know?
You have an autobiographical play coming up with the same title. Can you talk about that?
Oh no, well actually that came out in 16. It came
Okay,
out
that
in
came out.
yeah, it came out in 2016 based off of my life. Um, I basically did a 360. I'm like, wow, I started off in theater. Over time, I've grown to appreciate how much I love theater because a lot of the things that you go through in the music business, which can discourage you and make you not want to ever sing at all. You know what I mean? I know some of you artists can relate. Theater never did that. Theater, you're able to just go, and once you decide whether or not you accept whatever your rate is, whatever, it's about creativity. You don't have to deal with, oh well, the politics and this one needs to be on the song because that's my friend, and you need to and this and that and all of this, and you're like being tossed and turned so many ways. It made me appreciate what I had left in theater, and also just like the spontaneity of it. So I left Atlanta and came back to New York and set out to do the play. And we did it at the Cumble Theater at Long Island University, downtown Brooklyn. I got Easy Mo B to make his acting debut in the play.
Right.
That was awesome. There were a lot of great and talented people out, as far as wearing the director and produce, I wore all of the hats, and it was a lot on me. Financially, I went into difficulties, and oh man, it was a lot, but it was an experience. I'm the type of person that I'd rather say I did it than to never have even tried. So just for me to have done it, it was like a week run. To me, that was an accomplishment that I'm very proud of, because I did it, and it was a lot on me. Um, as a new director, as a production company, handling it was just a lot, but it was done. And I'm gonna be doing some more theater too, with some experience now that I didn't have. It's one thing when you're on stage and you're just acting. It's another thing when you're like responsible for all that goes on behind the scenes, and yeah, but it was cool.
You dropped a single, Elevated, in 2020. You have an upcoming single with DJ Terry Hunter. Can you talk about that?
The Elevated, that's a song about weed for 420. So it's something that I just put out for fun. I never put it on any streaming. It was just something for fun, you know what I mean? The song with Terry Hunter we did is a house joint, really hot. That's kind of gotten put on hold. I don't know what's going on with that, but hopefully one day it'll come out soon. I've been working on some music lately with a few producers, and like Dave Hall is one of them. We just finished the song. He just sent me the mix a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to be doing a theatrical play this coming fall, and it's funny because it's not a musical; it's a comedy. So that's a little twist for me, playing the lead role. I'll get to show another side of me. Most people that know me intimately, like, you crazy girl, or you funny, or because I'm quick with it.
Right.
But I never get a chance to really display that, on stage if I'm singing or acting, usually something a little more serious. So I said, this should be fun for me, to get to cut up and bounce off the people. So
Right. Is that the upcoming docuseries Switching Lanes?
no, Switching Lanes is a docu-series. Basically where you pair two professionals that are at the top of their game within whatever career path, and they switch lanes. So basically, I'm a singer. I teach you how to sing, and you teach me how to be a journalist, and we bounce off of one another like that for like 3 months. You learn or whatever. So that's a concept. It's an idea I came up with right before the pandemic. We shot a little pilot during the pandemic with Moby, Pete, April Walker, and a great sculptor named Chooks. I got a grant. I got a grant from the New York City Women in Film, and also got accepted into one of the film festivals. But all of this happened right around the strike last year,
Mm.
so it kind of lost the momentum of, like, I never really started negotiating for it to, get it picked up because we were in the middle of the strike, and then other things, but it's still there. You know what I'm saying? I believe that when you have a great, solid idea, that is timeless, and it can be, picked up at any time. Again, I try not to do things based solely off of money or hype. So I had to dig into my bag of discipline and say, put that on hold right now. I was basically forced to because of the strike. But then once the strike was resolved, your initial instinct is get back in there. And something was like, nah, hold off. And it's like my ego is like, no, this is the time. And it's like, nah, chill, just chill. So that's where I'm at with that right now. I believe that it's a great opportunity. I mean, a great um, storyline, and I believe it has great potential, and it could be a great opportunity for me. And I'm being patient with that one. So that's where I'm at with that.
Very dope. I want to thank you this evening for spending time and going over your history. At this point, what can we expect next from Crystal Johnson? Anything outside of music and theater?
Um, yeah, you can expect to see me walking around here living my best life.
No doubt.
If God's willing, I'll be here. So many of us have going on. It's crazy. I'm still in shock about Mr. C. He was a good dude. So I'm grateful to be here, and I'm excited at what life has to offer. I'm happy that at this age I'm still, working and doing things and working on music and doing plays, and sometimes I want to retire, but it's not my time, I guess. So.
Right. Where can the fans continue to follow you on social media?
Oh God. Well, you can go to at Crystal Johnson Music on Instagram, but I'm not that active on social media like that. Um, I, uh, but I'm on there. I have crystaljohnson.com, my website. I'm on Facebook. I'm on the platforms. I'm just not very active.
Right. Understandable.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but I don't really care. I'm not trying to, like, I don't know. I guess because I come from a whole nother era where, like, we didn't have to be so socially present to make money because we were selling physical records. You didn't need to know, you know what I mean? I don't have to like tap dance for you in order for you to say, oh, and I'm a private person to a degree, so it's like, I don't know. I'm an analog chick, so I can do whatever.
No
I
doubt.
mean, I'm there. That's how me and you connected. So
Right.
my
Well, I
presence,
appreciate the opportunity.
I just don't live for it.
Right. Any last word for your supporters who've been following you since day one?
um, keep following good music and real art, and support real artists, not just myself. Like, I'm an artist when I want to be. I'm not like an active, oh, I'm getting ready to drop this. I just do what, comes to me or what I feel. But I'm still working on some stuff. I have some stuff coming out soon that I'm kind of excited about. It's been a minute with the music, so I've never stopped working on music, but I'll work on it, and for my own listening pleasure. I've done some stuff over the past few years that when I do decide to put out a new body of work, it'll be dope. I've done some new music with Howie that is so banging. Like maybe the year before last, we did some stuff and got some good music. So pray my strength. Hopefully one day the people will hear it. It'll be worth it. It's very difficult for me as an artist, because when you look at what they have to offer monetarily for these streams, and then me coming from, like I said, we sold physical records. My era, you made money from physical record sales as well as performance royalties from BMI, ASCAP, whatever, from your radio play and everything. So this is different. And then it doesn't seem like it's fair. So why would I be in a rush to put out some music for what,
Right.
my ego? For me to say that you heard it? Like,
Right.
so I'm content with where things are, because I'm not trying to compete. I'm not ever going to try to like be, I mean, I'm older now, so like I don't fit in that whole thing. But you do have artists my age, and I would never do a 360 deal. Like, for
Right.
what?
Exactly.
So it makes it difficult to put out stuff. You have good music and you're like, well, what am I going to do with it? And it seems like a lot of us from that era are going through that.
Right. Like I said, I want to thank you for everything you contributed to the culture. Thank you for joining me this evening. Anything you need, anything you want to talk about, I'm always here for you. That is the lovely Crystal Johnson. I am the journalist Sin-seer, and we'll see you guys again next time. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Thank you.
Let's stay in touch.